Armour is one of the most useful resources that you have in Guild Wars. This is because you can boost your character through using runes and insignias which are equipped to your armour. Along with this, you have to get your armour infused later into Guild Wars Prophecies to make sure that the skill Spectral Agony does not do a ton of damage to you. This is why I have decided to ask myself the question, is it possible to defeat Guild Wars Prophecies without armour? Firstly, I had to decide on the profession that I wanted to choose for this challenge. I have taken a monk, which in my opinion would have been the easiest option for survivability, as I could keep myself alive for longer through the use of both protection and healing prayers to negate and heal damage. Or I could have taken the route of a caster, or the ranger, so that I could attack the enemy at a range to do consistent damage from afar, with many different easy to use spells that could interrupt or damage my enemy greatly. Instead, I decided to choose a warrior, as they have the most use of armour, being the first into a fight, along with having the highest armour rating compared to all other professions in Prophecies. I decided to make a male warrior. This is because I wanted to look at his bottom all day, and he looks pretty muscly, so I'd like to see that a lot throughout my playthrough. I also decided that he had a really cool name that I decided to come up with right on the spot here, as it was great. As you can see, his name is No Armour Arnie, and he is one of the baddest people in the land. As you can see, now I've got into Ascalon City, and I have decided to instantly delete all of my clothing, as I will not need that in the future. There is no need for armour at all, and yeah, it may as well go in the trash. Now, No Armour Arnie is ready for his adventure. My first enemy was ready, and I want to soak in its blood, so I decided to hit the Riverscale Tads and killed them with relative ease. This made me have hope for this adventure, as these were level 0 and rather easy to kill. Through killing those Riverscale Tads, I got my first two skills, Frenzy and Healing Signet. These skills, however, proved rather useless when coming into practice. As you can see, I used Frenzy, and it did not do much to the river scale, as all I did was attack slightly faster for it to do double damage to me, and nearly killing me in the process. I then decided to help out some local residents of Ascalon, leveling myself up in the process. As you can see here, I decided to let bees sting my naked body over and over again for Miller Upton. This was a very daunting task, and probably where I thought I would fail throughout the playthrough, as this was a very difficult quest for me. Bees stinging me constantly were a very good way of hardening myself and actually giving myself some natural armour. But with all good things come a few bugs, especially with this quest. I managed to actually get the bees stuck on the bridge, as I thought, oh yeah, I've crossed the bridge here. I even checked my quest log thinking, this actually hasn't updated, so I can't actually hand in the quest for the experience at all. All I wanted was the experience and some nice bees stinging my body. So I decided from there that I'll probably just drop this, run away, and decide to come back and do the quest again. This time, I actually completed the quest. I got a few extra skills for the axe and chopped down some saintly bugs. I then decided to test my hammer metal on this Etin, which surprisingly died rather fast, as it was surprisingly weak. I then decided to help Devonna out with her quest Trouble in the Woods, where she had to take on a Gruul problem, which were attacking the woods. So this was the first time I died, as Healing Signet was useful as always, and I come to learn that you can't use it a lot. I decided to get a new hammer from Devonna from that quest, and yeah, killed a few scales to test this new hammer and how powerful it was, and I tell you what, it actually was a whole lot better than my previous hammer. I then killed a few ice golems and decided that I should take Elementalist as my secondary profession because I'm crazy. I then arrive at the Great Northern Wall after meticulous levelling, where we decide to slaughter a bunch of gargoyles and Gruuls who have went to war. After getting through the mission, we managed to find a Char settlement, which are being led by a Elementalist due to the red glowing aura around him. They then spot us, and as you can see, he puts his staff in front of him many times to say charge, and we run away because no way are we going to deal with that. I mean, I'm already going to have a really hard time later on anyway. I may as well not have a hard time now by taking on a load of Char at a gate. Once we get back from the Char chasing us, we speak to Captain Cowhan, and see that the charge are trying to rush out the gate, which the Ascalon people are holding quite well. We then are jumping into Fort Rannick straight away. We've got ourselves a Char boss that we have slaughtered. This is where you see after the Char boss, just under the bridge, I'm getting attacked by Char stalkers, you know, the rangers, and they're using ignite arrows, and I just get completely destroyed by all of the arrows pummeling me at once. And the heroes are here. At this point I thought it was a wipe, but luckily enough the heroes are able to do their job successfully and help me succeed in this mission. I reforged the siege machine and used it to rain hot fire upon the Char, like they did upon Ascalon. After fighting through the Char, I reached Spar the Ravager, who we take down with relative ease. Like, he takes a lot, he uses frenzy, so he takes a lot of damage. This signifies the end of the mission, and we move on to greener pastures. Well, still the same pastures, all grey and dull, and look like they're destroyed. And then, as you can see, I take on some more elementalists, and this seems to prove a problem for me, as I'm getting battered around with no armour. It seems that when you have less armour, you take more damage all the time, and using Healing Signet did not help. Healing Signet actually became more of a liability than anything throughout this. I then attack the final boss of the mission, so that I can actually kill him and actually, you know, progress on to Rin, into the Nolanai Academy mission, I think it's called. And yeah, so this is quite good, just protecting Rurik. I thought Rurik was going to die during this mission, but luckily he didn't, because at one point I was getting overwhelmed, but not important to put in the mission. At this point we've got Stormcooler. He blows a magical horn, and Rurik puts out loads of flames, and rain starts coming down. Obviously the most effective use against fire, it depends on what fire. If they used oil, then technically the fire probably wouldn't go out, but you know. Yeah, Stormcooler instantly makes it rain, and it makes it easier to fight against the Char. I think that's the point of the use of Stormcooler, but I'm not sure. Yeah, and as you can see, there's loads of Char there. We get to Bonfaz Burntfur. I actually thought I was going to die at the beginning of this mission as well, but yeah, we get to Bonfaz Burntfur and finally kill the leader of the Flame Legion sect of the Char. But you'll find out about that later in Eye of the North, if you haven't played this game before. Well, you probably have if you're watching this video. We then have to leave the our home of Ascalon, because pretty much Prince Rurik then gets daddy issues, and Adalbern does not like Rurik anymore. So we decide, let's leave, because we cannot be asked to deal with a tyrannical ruler anymore, because he's a bit insane, and we don't want insane characters around. And then, as you can see, dwarves. We've then got dwarves to deal with throughout the Shiverpeaks, and yeah, pretty much as you have a massive, as I mentioned earlier, physical damage is something that really hurts you. Oh, and empathy, especially if you're empathy with melee attacks. I just wasn't really thinking too much at this point. I was kind of like, I think I'd played for quite a lot of time in Ascalon, so all of the things that was played previously was actually played to a certain point. So I was just like, I must kill these dwarves, and then I finally got past the dwarves in the end. We light up the beacons. So I'm lighting up the beacons in the first mission. Oh, but there's loads of side quests I did to actually get a few more abilities and stuff like that. But yeah, doing the storm beacons was actually quite fun, Armourless, because I didn't die. So yeah, it actually was a bit of a breath of fresh air compared to what I normally would do. Yeah, the one thing about being a warrior is using stuff like this, these items, really started to get annoying when you had to carry them around. So I decided, yep, I'm just gonna have to do what I can when I can. You have to go back and forth a lot. But the one good thing about a warrior is, well, nothing really, because everything's really based on armor. So you tend to die quite a lot just from being in melee combat. We blow up the door here to actually get into the base. Well, luckily this mission actually gives you loads of morale boosts, and because you get loads of morale boosts, it makes it a whole lot easier to do without the armor. It's like once you get later into the game, the armor becomes problematic. This is where I started to find the game to get a bit harder. As I had a 10% morale boost here, you'd see that I thought I had everything under control. I was like, yeah, I can go in there, I can do stuff, and then I ended up dying. It wasn't exactly what I expected to go to plan, but yeah, it kind of actually hurt me more than anything else. What I really had to do was kill the ads and then kill the Elementalist, but I thought, now I'll just go straight for the Elementalist, as he's obviously the strongest one. But as I get later throughout the game, you actually can get more abilities. Obviously, one thing I didn't take into account is when you are playing on a fresh account, because this was a fresh account, you actually can't get any abilities other than really from quests until the end of the game, which made it rather difficult for myself, as it was a lot harder to just buy abilities and use those abilities. You had to just use the abilities that you'd earned. So at the same time, I've kind of made this challenge a little bit more difficult for myself than I originally intended. But at the same time, I enjoy that because it's added that extra element of challenge to this challenge that's already being done. As you can see, through this bit, we've just completed the mission by lighting the 3 beacons and being able to grant us passage into the next mission. Here in the Frostgate, you can see I've got a lot of dwarves around me here, and you can see a recurring theme. Is that, well, 1, I die a lot, and 2, I get overwhelmed by loads and loads of melee warriors. So this was the first time I died in the Frostgate. I died multiple times, but I didn't want to show how many times I died because it was probably too many to actually count. I think it was probably about 17 or so. I died to these Minotaurs alone around 7 times. But I think when I did that, I quit for the day. I was just like, do you know what? I really can't be bothered with this anymore. So I kind of took a break, and it let me kind of relax a bit and stop thinking about, oh, I'm just trying to get through this as easy as possible. And as you can see, now I've actually skipped to the time lapse towards the end where I've come here with the crane. So I thought, I may as well clear out the whole of this end area. I did not want to do the mission again. I wanted to get it done and get out of there. So yeah, that would be good. I mean, I'd try to, if I was doing this in hard mode, it'd probably be a lot harder because I would probably need heroes because henchmen are not very good. But yeah, as you can see, just easily taking out all of these enemies, and I've put all 3 of the levers down so the Frostgate should be open, and boom, we're at the cutscene. And unfortunately, at this time within the game, Rurik gets trapped under snow. I'm not very happy with that. I love Rurik, and yeah, so he gets trapped under the tree, and No Armour Arnie, naked as ever, is not very happy at this point. So yeah, we talked to Rurik quickly before going towards the next area, which actually isn't a mission. We actually come out of that part, and Dagnar unfortunately slices off Rurik's head, as it seems to be, and he's a warrior, yet he's also an elementalist at the same time. So I think they probably had some sort of plan to make him a warrior actually in the end game. Like, you probably would have to get and then this bit here was probably one of the most annoying things I've ever had to do in the entire run of this game, where I literally saw all of these centaurs, and there were a giant group of them, just a massive group of them. And like I said, whenever I get overwhelmed, I get heavily overwhelmed because the armor is literally nothing. And I've still got healing signet at this moment. So healing signet is mostly used for a retreat, and I can be like, heal, in case Alessia is dead or something. But as you can see, there's just a whole lot of time where I'm just trying to get these people to actually kill these centaurs and actually res me, which was actually working quite well. It's just that I had to get rezzed, but it's just taking forever to get rezzed. Luckily, this is another point where henchmen have actually provided themselves useful to try and keep me alive. But I think Alessia will probably. I did want Alessia and stuff to die, because then it would be easier just to get back down there. But at the same time, they were doing their jobs rather well, so I can't exactly blame them. At the same time, and then you see more centaurs. They've come in again. They've come in to attack me, and at this point, like, I'm just thinking, well, if this is going to be the rest of the playthrough, this is going to be a very hard struggle from now on. But luckily, this was probably one of the hardest moments, I think, that I've had in the whole of this playthrough, throughout the whole of this, like, yeah, one of the biggest struggles that I had. It's also because when you're not level 20, you're focusing on the henchmen actually doing stuff more for you as well, and you're just dead. Like, well, later as well, the henchmen are level 20 and you're level 20, so everything's even rather than the henchman being a lower level than you. And as you can see, we get to Aiden, accept the quest from Aiden, and that was pretty much the... then I had to obviously wait because Ettins attacked me, so I couldn't get the quest from then. But the Ettins weren't exactly too troublesome. The only if there were about like 7 Ettins, that would have been a huge amount of trouble for me at that time. And then we just go straight into the next area. This is where I think we finally find the White Mantle pass, and then go to the Gates of Kryta. So yeah, we actually have got quite far within 15 minutes of footage. But there was, at this point, I had recorded about, I don't even know how many hours. I then come face to face with a new enemy, being the undead. They pretty much make short work of me with their mesmers and their disease. So like, I've got to have, rely on Alessia to actually heal me. And obviously, it's only a healer and no protection. It really doesn't seem to help me out. I just die quite quickly against them, which isn't exactly the greatest walk in the park whilst doing this. Also, as you can see here, I am going against undead sorcerers, and the one thing they do is blind, and blinding really, really, really affects you as a warrior, especially when you've got nothing that you can actually do. Like, I'm literally there to be a tank at that point. I can only die. So at least the henchmen don't die as much, I guess, and if I do get rezzed by res signet and hopefully Alessia doesn't die, then normally that's quite good. But yeah, with the sorcerers, I'm literally dead. I'm dead weight in that. I mean, I don't even have any armor, so I can't tank really. I'm just there just to be a punching bag, which was one of the funniest things that kind of happened to me all the time, because I'd go into an encounter with an undead like mage, and I'd be like, yeah, there's no way I'm going to do that, which happens a lot more in later missions. So that's a lot of fun, I have to admit. But yep, I make easy work of that Necrid horseman and this amazing specimen monk, undead monk, which died pretty quickly. Where I finished the mission, and then, if everyone knows, Habion with his musky voice destroy stuff. Oh, one other notable thing that I did was help this piglet get back. This was actually to get abilities, because like I said earlier, you actually don't get many abilities if you are using a fresh account, because I thought this could be a challenge mode account. I'll just do challenge modes on this. They just keep coming. And as I said earlier, a huge amount of warriors just destroy you. So I thought that it would be wise to take on these Ettins, and maybe that they won't keep coming, but they just do. They just keep coming, and as you can see, they're just coming over and over again. It's an onslaught of Ettins. Just getting smashed for high numbers, 123, like instant death. At that point, I thought I'd wipe, but no, I haven't wiped yet. This is where I just thought I'm just going to go for the prize-winning hog. I'll just chase it to the farmer. If I chase it to the farmer, then hopefully I can actually get the quest reward and not matter too much. The only problem is the henchmen were following me, and what I needed to do was just chase that pig, and hopefully the henchmen would take care of the rest. Then I could just go to the next zone and hopefully just get straight to, I think, Burgeon Hot Springs. I haven't got that in. This is only just a notable side quest because I literally chased a boar with Ettins coming from behind the whole time, and managed to complete the quest with relative ease, even though it wasn't exactly the greatest thing. It was very... it's just how inefficient it becomes when you're trying to use no armor. You literally have no efficiency whatsoever. The fun Delesio Sea board mission now. As you can see, I was doing the bonus route mission, part of the bonus route, because I'm just more familiar with it because I don't actually go the normal route ever. And there's a lot of undead sorcerers there, so as you'll see in a second, I'm trying to pull them because then they will not. I'll pull them with the bow so that they will not attack my people as well. With, I think it's aftershock that they have, where it'll just. Or I'm not sure which one it is, but they'll use some of like stuff to like. I think it was like an eruption. I think it's eruption to actually hit a lot of your henchmen. So yeah, as you can see, I'm just getting blinded by blinding flash over and over and over and over again, and this is painful. Like when you're a warrior, like I mean, when you're normally a warrior, it's painful. But when you're a warrior without any armor, you're just there doing nothing. Like you actually become the embodiment of just being useless. And as you can see there, I just died instantly from another load of undead coming in at the last second and just claiming me and destroying me over and over. It's just the undead. They were a pain. They were an absolute pain throughout this playthrough. Luckily, I had a nice resting spot in the Confessor's Palace area within Delesio Seaboard. So it wasn't too bad. Luckily, everything was really simple. Allowed me to get a lot of that death penalty off. Still had my ram's head as my weapon. So it was, yeah, all good. But yeah, here's the end of the mission. We got to the Scepter of Ore. Obviously, this is a major story part that the White Mantle have the Scepter of Ore, and we've retrieved it for them. So here we go back to the original base of the Mantle, where we start to get knighted. I decided to keep this knight a bit in because I thought this was kind of, like for me, around a halfway point, but then I realised, hang on a second, this isn't a halfway point. It's more when you get into the Maguma that's a halfway point. But yeah, so we get ourselves, wash ourselves in a nice bath, so that, pretty much we want a bath so that we can be chosen. Or not chosen, so we can be cleansed of our sins, so we can find the chosen. And in order to find the chosen, you just have to knock people down, pretty much. You just have to smack them down with the Eye of Truth. And yeah, you know, the all-seeing Illuminati eye, well, the Eye of Janthir for thing. Luckily, the Eye of Janthir was really helpful in this mission because it knocked down loads of things a lot of the time. At that point, it actually didn't knock down those Ettins, and therefore I died, even though it did have the kind of thing which makes it. I deliver 4 of the Chosen, unfortunately, and obviously this is where we meet the Shining Blade, which has stolen the Chosen from... yeah, stolen the Chosen from them. So within the time we've gathered them, they were so incompetent as to lose them, pretty much, which is pretty fun. As you can see, once again, in the Maguma jungle, you can see that in this mission, the Wilds, it's normally always a massive like load of things that just swarm you and one-shot you because you have no armor. They just keep hitting you over and over again, and then you tend to die a lot. So the Maguma jungle was pretty much one of the most horrible places to actually be. Like, I keep saying that but it's like one place becomes horrible, then you go to the next place, it's like it's just as bad, and then you go to the next place, it's like, oh no, it's just as bad. But it's because I think in Prophecies a lot of it is designed with like it swarms. Like, so if you look at Factions and Nightfall, things don't swarm you as greatly as they do in this one per se. Like, if you actually, because you could actually predict where things are. In this one, a lot of things are in the ground and you can't really predict where anything is. But we kill the spider. We've killed the spider, and the Wilds was quite an easy mission to get through. So at this point, we join the Shining Blade immediately after we've joined the White Mantle. So the story is progressing really fast here at the moment. I've always found that was quite a fast progression in the story, that you go straight from the White Mantle to the Shining Blade, and you're like, oh, I'm just going to join you now. And obviously we get surrounded by a load of men, and we threaten to kill them, but obviously that isn't possible, so I don't even know why we threatened to kill them in the first place. Nothing much interest has happened in Bloodstone Fen. Pretty much I died a few times, but then it came back pretty simply. It wasn't the hardest of missions to get through, really. All I had to do was get to the end, go to the Bloodstone, kill Justicar Hablion, which obviously I have to kill the priest first, because if I don't kill the monk first, then it's going to be a bad time because you'll just keep healing. I had to keep running away from Justicar Hablion though, because you just get running around all the places, and it made it extremely difficult to actually get a lot of things killed. One thing that I started to learn a little bit more at this point is you have to go in at the right moment. So wait, always wait, and kill little groups, and then you can kill the bigger things at the end. So this wasn't actually, like, the Meguma wasn't exactly too hard per se, but it was hard in terms of if you were is that everything comes out the ground, and if you accidentally step forward, you might accidentally trigger something which destroys you. So it's quite a horrible thing to do in the Meguma. At this point, between everything, I was doing a few side quests, getting all the stuff done, but then I got towards Ventari's refuge. Thought that this is also a major part to include, as we pretty much speak to Ventari and he tells us, go away, I don't want to be involved in all the shit that you're doing. So yeah, we couldn't exactly do much there. So to help him out, we thought, Joe, what? Even though you told us to F off, we're just going to help you kill the White Mantle outside. Well, we're killing him for our sakes, really. But yeah, they would have probably thought that Ventari was also in use here and was going to be the one who was trying to stop them as well. So yeah, there's quite a lot of things to get out there. As you can see as well, though, they had empathy on the Mesmers, which really didn't help me when I was playing through this, because they hurt. Empathy hurts. That sounds like I'm a psychopath, but empathy hurts when you're fighting against those things. Yeah, once again, Moss Scarabs on a side quest, just Moss Scarabs do everything to me, hurt me inside, and probably they're probably one of my most hated things now. I mean, they were already quite hated for me throughout this game, but Moss Scarabs are even worse when you're playing it armorless. You just get destroyed over and over. At this point, I've reached Aurora Glade though, so it's not too bad. Once we go into Aurora Glade, I also found a new enemy, which completely destroyed me. Obviously, once again, with the recurring theme of it being an elementalist. So, if I even got close to a Thornstalker, they would do that, and I would get destroyed. So, I had to pretty much keep my distance from Thornstalkers, or else they would just completely wreck me by using Aftershock. As you can see here, they just knocked me down with it. Luckily, at the end of this mission, I managed to complete it first time. And I say luckily because of this reason here. As you can see, I died, but the Mantle Warriors got stuck on me. And everyone just stopped moving. And that was probably one of the luckiest things that ever could have happened to me whilst playing this game. I just didn't want to do this mission again, but everything started getting stuck. So it was really good. Here as well, this abbot's just getting body blocked, so he's trying to carry everything towards the Demravi portal, but we're just there, just yay, you can't kill us. Yeah, I have to admit I completely lucked out at this point, and I was really happy that I'd lucked out on that point, because I didn't want to try and go through the whole mission again to stop them from attacking. And yeah, it was pretty much one of the luckiest things I could have done. Then I killed the Justicar, because I thought, well, if I can do that, I may as well just kill the Justicar, get the bonus objective, and actually level up. Through leveling up, it just completely helped me just get through that mission and just, get through the mission and get it done. That's what I wanted to do, get out of the Meguma as fast as possible, and hopefully get through the Crystal Desert as fast as possible were my two options, because I knew that the stuff came out the ground most in those two locations. But as you can see, we've been teleported to the Henge of Denravi, where we've got to destroy that big root worm thing. I can't actually remember the name of it. This is also known as the Henge Guardian. So yeah, now we can actually see it clearly, its name clearly on the screen. You can see it's the Henge Guardian, which I called the root worm thing. Luckily we got the bonus objective and the main objective, which is one step closer to being level 20, which is always good because you want to get 20 as quick as possible most of the time. So you have all skill points that you can possibly get other than attribute quests. But we got to the Boatmaster down here, who should take us to the other, to Kryta again, so that we can steal the Scepter of All from the White Mantle and be on our way. Once again, I am fighting the undead. I'm against the Bone Dragon, and you could say at that point then I actually got boned. It's actually quite a horrible thing trying to fight that bone drake, because it does so much damage. You can see those numbers coming up right now, and how much I don't do to it back, giving only a 16 hit every time. Obviously, if I had armour, I wouldn't have been one hit there, but obviously the armourless part, which is the most horrible, is yet to come. Yeah, as you can see, we actually killed it in the end. The bone dragon died, and we managed to get in through the back end, well, towards Dinas, who gave us the Scepter of War, and we decided we are going to run away. Well, we had to fight through Mantle, but they were actually easy. It was the Bone Drake that was the hard thing in the whole of this mission. But yeah, so we made our way back towards the next mission, and as you can see, we got cut off from the actual White Mantle there, which you'd think we would want. Oh yeah, we actually cut off the bridge from the White Mantle there, and we reclaimed the Scepter of War. All we had to do now was give it to Vizier Kilbron. Sanctum Cay was not a very fun mission for me, because I kept dying at the beginning of it against a mass load of executioners. And obviously there's a recurring theme of elementalists or loads of warriors. So as you can see, at this point, it wasn't exactly the greatest thing. I probably restarted this mission at the beginning, probably about 7, 8 or 9 times, and yeah, it was actually quite ball aching for me, to use it in polite words. As you can see, like that was where I was getting attacked. At this point, we had to defend Vizier Kilbron. This was also my second least favourite part of this mission, where you actually have to defend him, and because I don't have much armour, I can't defend him, and it's coming from 2 directions, which makes it really hard to deal with from 2 sides. So I'm just going between one and another, just getting completely destroyed. And oh look, Alessia actually got me up. She was useful for a time at this point. You just can't stop them at this point. They just get too much. There's so many just coming in over and over again. At this point, I thought I was gonna wipe, and yeah, I did wipe. So I got back here to the end again, and decided I might take a different approach this time. I'll try and kill things as fast as possible and just go straight into them. I'll run right into them, hopefully not take any damage from these people. Obviously, I didn't have a ranger boss last time, which probably helped me through this time, as I was really expecting to die. I used healing signet. That was a really risky healing signet there. This was the time where my heart was pumping most. It was so like, I must just get on this boat. Just as you can see, I kept running towards Vizier, just being like, hurry up, I've just got to get on. But it wasn't helping much at all. Running towards him does not do anything to speed up the quickness. It's literally just a base flat time. I don't know why. It's just the panic. It was inside me. I was just like, I've got to get here. I've got to get here. But yeah, in the end, I actually do manage to get it done. It's just that I'm using healing signet a lot, and I'm thinking it's such a dumb idea because I could just get completely one shot. At this point, I just ran. I ran to the boat. I saw it was up. I ran. I then got really, really scared because I died. I was like, oh no, the mission's failed. I can't believe I failed it just as he'd come up. But luckily, I get a clutch. I get a clutch heal from Alessia, which you will see just in a second. This is like the most exciting thing for me. My heart was racing at this point. I was like, Alessia, just res me. And I got res and I just ran. I sprinted for the boat. I wish I had sprint at this point, but I didn't. And because I sprinted for the boat, as long as one person gets there, it completes the mission. And that was one of the funnest times of this challenge. It's when you overcome that challenge, you literally, it's a feeling of glee and the best thing that you could ever have when you're playing a game, when you're just doing something and you're like, yes, I did it, I actually did it. And that was genuinely my true feelings there. It was amazing when I completed that. I got to the Crystal Desert next though, and this was probably my worst place because I genuinely didn't like how many things kept popping up out the ground. I had to try and manage the things that actually came out of the ground so many times. As you can see there, I was just getting attacked by stuff over and over again, and it would just keep popping up out of the ground. And you just get a bit fed up with it in the end. You're like, there's no reason for you to put this many things popping up out of the ground in the Crystal Desert. However, I have finally made it to Augury Rock, and I'm just happy that I have arrived in this stunning location. Ilona Reach was quite a fun mission for me, because this one I probably did about 6 or 7 times, obviously because of the amount of times that you die to the wrong boss at the wrong time, because the bosses spawn in random locations, there's no exact location of each boss, and therefore if you got lucky with certain areas, then you'd be able to actually completely bypass a certain boss. I think the Mesmer, or no, it was the Monk boss that was the most difficult boss for me within this mission. I'll be rating this one the easiest mission out of all 3 of the Ascension missions, as all you had to do was get the vision crystals in, whereas the other 2 were a little bit more difficult. But as you can see, like when you bring the vision crystals in, you can actually do it a little bit easier. This was the first time that I also didn't get those priests. The first priest. I got the last 2 priests, which actually were easier, but it was the first time I didn't get the first priest, and I could have got the bonus objective. However, yeah, this was a wipe that I did. I handed it in, but then I just wiped because, yeah, it was the monk boss, and it just completely kept out healing everything because I, as a character, had no damage from my death penalty. However, we will move on to the Thirsty River, as that was the most difficult one of all 3 of them to do. This was mostly because I tried so many different ways of fighting. I managed to pick up a fiery dragon sword and I thought I'll use that, but it just wasn't really that effective. I got through to the end. I mean, it seemed effective for me, but it wasn't. I got through towards the end of this one, and I just kept dying over and over again, and there's a point where they just resurrect, and I just can't do anything about it. So the ghostly, I think I wiped this time, or is it the ghostly hero that dies? But I literally tried to do my best at clearing the first river, but it just wasn't doing anything, as the ghostly hero was too deep in that he dies, and there's no way of recovering. It was horrible. It was these last points that you have to take into consideration, pulling a group out at a certain time limit, so that I didn't do any resurrections or healing, so that we would not die. But in the end, completely failed. I failed this mission probably about 20 something times. It was one of the most horrible ones. I just kept dying over and over again. I mean, the more I got frustrated as well, the more I kind of got tilted, and I would just run in and die and then be like, why have I done this? And as you can see, I died. The whole team wiped again. I just went back into that was just rage. That was pure rage that happened there. I was like, no, this is to go back to Thirsty River. Can't be bothered. But this time, this is where I got to the monk part. So you know that I actually got to the end. I went for the monk one first because I thought, if we can benefit from the morale boosts, then hopefully my henchmen, as I'm not doing much damage, can hopefully do something. So I tried to get as many dismembers off as possible, and tried to do as much as I could to every healer that I was playing against on this. I was just like, I've got to get the healer, I've got to get the healer. Luckily the resurrection one died first, and then I could get the monk here. But yeah, the monks were probably one of the most horrible things, because you know that they'll resurrect, so you kind of tunnel the resurrection person where you really shouldn't. So what I did there was I actually did tunnel the resurrection person. I just waited for the right opportunity to actually hit them though, and killed things off a bit earlier. As you can see, this is where I finally complete the mission. This one is actually worth showing compared to the other one, as this one was probably the most ball-achingly horrible one for me to do in the whole of this game. When this happened, I couldn't believe I got the bonus objective, and I was relieved, as this took me probably the most time of all things in this game, because I was a warrior going in, dying, and just dying and dying. It just wasn't nice. It was the worst thing that I'd ever witnessed in the whole of this game, was just dying over and over again and not completing the mission. I wouldn't mind dying and completing the mission, but I died and I didn't complete the mission. So yeah, then I lead to this part where I get the slow totem, because the slow totem really did help, especially when I was armorless. It helped a whole lot with dealing with these, because they attacked slower and they moved slower. However, this was also quite tricky to deal with. It was the second most tricky of all of them, because of those siege worms. Those siege worms would just hail rocks upon you, and you could do nothing about it, because I'd either have to run up to there and have the chance that the ghostly hero was not being healed, and therefore he would die. So this was annoying because of almost because of the time limit that you have, that 10-minute capture time, and it would always be around 30 seconds that I would die. I managed to actually do this on my 4th try, because 3 tries I just completely got destroyed, like by the siege worms just doing too much, and then I waited. I went off the game for an hour so I could actually do get my head focused and be like, okay, I'll do this again. And as you can see here, I kind of clutched this a lot by putting my healers all the way over there. Luckily keeping healing signet on me, because this was before I abandoned healing signet. And I just kept the siege worms aggroed on me, which were right next to me. So all they'd do was keep hitting me, I would heal, and they couldn't do much about it. So I would just heal. I just kept healing over again, and I just couldn't believe how clutch this was, because at one point I thought I put a healing signet on at the wrong time, and I might have got double damage and completely destroyed myself, and there I thought, but luckily they never did enough damage to completely kill me. So I was really happy about this, because I was just trying to keep aggro on me the whole time. Obviously I don't think the aggro would switch, but I used the bow just because I thought, well, maybe they'd think that I'm trying to aggress them, aggravate them, and therefore only attack me. So yeah, this was probably one of the most clutch moves I ever did, because I was like, do you know what, I'm just gonna have to try and figure something out, because these siege worms are so strong. I even tried one time to attack one of the sides, I think it was this side where 2 pop up. I tried to attack those, but then the other one just kept slamming the ghostly hero, and I couldn't get back in time to heal them, because obviously the heroes will keep the henchmen will keep attacking until you tell them otherwise. So it was quite hard, but as you can see, the timer is elapsing, and I, at this point, was just completely relieved that I had just done this mission, because I was like, yes, I've done it. I have waited the time, because it takes forever, 10 minutes. I just hate it when stuff's timed. This mission was the one that I thought would be my most concerning mission, because I thought, without armor, how am I meant to defeat myself? As obviously, it's really hard to defeat yourself when they will have full armor stats, and I think they have full stats of whatever you put on. So it makes it a whole lot harder. I obviously died a couple of times, but then my mind thought, hang on a second, how did I die loads earlier? I used Frenzy, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to put no abilities on other than one which knocks down, and just let him use Frenzy, and I can completely destroy him. Luckily for me, this worked like a charm. Look at the damage that this is probably the most damage I've ever produced in the whole of this series, because I could actually stop him from heal signating as well. I got the bonus objective as well, and I just was like, I didn't expect it to be this easy. It was so easy, but it was my 3rd go, and I was like, Joel, I've just got to rethink my strategy here. And I was so it was so anticlimactic for me, because I thought, this is going to take forever. This is going to take absolute centuries to complete, but I actually got through to the Dragon's Lair with relative ease, and I was so stunned by the result that I actually got. This then moves me on to the Dragon's Lair, where I had fought I have to fight many different faucets to be able to get to the next part. Luckily, this was probably where I got one of the best abilities I ever could have got throughout the whole of this game, as it comes in so useful near the end of the game. But yeah, I was attacking all of these different dragons for them to open their portals. This one was really easy, it wasn't hard at all. Yep, the second one as well, this faucet, it was just nothing to me. I just could destroy it. Most of the faucets actually were the easiest part of this, because they didn't really do much to me. They didn't actually affect me much, because they were just so easy to die. It was just the other things in that. I think the mesmer part was the worst bit, as there were so many different things that could use illusions on you over the wall, and that would be one of the worst things for me to actually do. But the mesmer boss itself also was really easy to kill, but it was the closest that we ever, my whole party came to a wipe, as they could attack over the walls, and I couldn't tank as easy as I normally would. I would normally tank through, just going in, letting them attack me, using Endure Pain, keeping, myself quite big, and then Lena could heal me, use protection magics on me, and then Alessia could heal me, which makes them really useful if you use them as a pairing in this, because you are normally the most urgent subject that most urgent thing that they have to heal, and therefore they will heal you. And most things tend to go for you because they're like, low armor rating, we're going to go for him. And yeah, I actually found that things focused me way more than usual. Like, more things used to focus the healer when I'm playing with other things, but they focus me a whole lot more when I have no armor whatsoever. Yep, that Necro one just died like nothing. I'm pretty sure this is the Elementalist one, which I was the most concerned about because I thought the Elementalist one would actually destroy me. But it was probably one of the easiest ones to kill out of the whole faucets. As I kill it though, I'll just go straight through the portal, as you don't actually need to completely kill everything. So I thought, oh no, I'll just go through the portal. And this was the warrior one. This one was the most important one to me because then I actually got a good elite skill. I think it's called Gladiator's Defense. I was at this point, you can see with my cursor that I'm trying to see which one it had, like what its ability is, because I wanted to know what I could get of it. But yeah, it's Gladiator's Defense, and it was the most useful spell that I had, as it allowed me to block a load of melee damage. And melee damage it completely negates the thing that happened to me before with all the warriors coming around me and killing me with relative ease. It actually made that a non-possibility, and therefore Elementalists were the worst thing for me in the end, because they would do so much damage to me and completely destroy me. I thought I nearly clicked Glint then. At that point, I nearly clicked Glint, and I thought I was going to trigger some sort of fight. I was debating whether I should fight her, and then I was like, nah, that's just not good. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to leave, and I'm going to get through this and get through the story and complete this challenge. However, then we move on to the Ice Caves of Sorrow. This was the part where I thought would be the most difficult. Not this mission in particular, but this stretch from Mursaat magics all the way to the end. As you can see here, I died pretty quickly to the Mursaat because spectral agony kills you very fast when you're not infused at all. Obviously, you're meant to take these on at this point, but I think I get 2-prong attacked, so I could have dealt with these Mursaat quite easily. But then I get attacked from behind, and then my whole party just wipes within literally seconds because there was too much to get to actually recover from that. And as you can see, I've got both my heroes they were both dead. They couldn't run away and they couldn't heal me at all. I got to the end of the mission though with relative ease, because if you take the Mursaat 2 at a time, or 2 or 3 at a time, it's not too bad if you get one of them and try and focus all your energy normally on the Elementalist. The rest will just crumble. But I actually didn't take that many Mursaat on at that time, so it was quite easy just to get straight to the end, and I was really happy that I could get into the Iron Mines of Molajune. As soon as I got into this, I was like, I'm going to try and get past as quick as I can and get through. Luckily, the beginning actually wasn't really too hard to deal with. I didn't die at all at the beginning. It was just having to go through loads and loads of mobs, and it was just going throughout the whole mission. That was kind of a drag, because you're like, it's quite a long mission, so I don't want to die here. Luckily, I didn't die, and it was quite a walk in the park, actually. As long as you don't aim to go into any Mursaat, you normally tend to stay quite alive and healthy for most of the time. And as you can see, I go straight to the Idolin, because I was wondering if you actually kill the Idolin, do you actually get infused even if you don't have the armor to get infused? And the short answer for that would be no. You don't get infused still, because obviously this is an old game. The programming can be done with you're infused once the armor happens, or they'll give you some sort of buff. So I hand into the Idolin to the Seer, and they say my armor's buffed, but we all know you're lying. I have no armor. You cheeky Seer, you. Obviously, the amount of time that they've been alive has decreased their vision, and they can't see that my flesh is actually not armor. This is where I actually decide to take on the Mursaat, which, okay, let's just assess this fight here and see how clever I was at this point. I tried to pull them out. The one thing that I tried to use throughout the whole of this is if I pull something, then it should be quite easy to deal with. But yeah, I just died. It was probably one of the most stupid things I've ever done when trying to pull something to actually attack me. Thought I'd put that in because of how stupid I was, but I got straight to Marcus. This was still in the same mission, so I completed this mission straight up, and I decided to teabag Marcus's face. Oh, I was trying to. That was me being. I actually might have been able to lose that mission there, but I was trying to teabag Marcus. As you can see, trying to be a funny guy there by teabagging Marcus, but yeah, in the end, it didn't turn out too great. Oh no, I am still teabagging him. Yeah, so I was teabagging Marcus because I thought it'd be a funny thing to do, but in the end, in retrospect, I probably just looked like a bit of a prat, in all honesty. I looked so stupid. This was the mission I was most dreading, Thunderhead Keep, as the amount of stuff that attacks you is so fun. Like, no, I'm just kidding. It's actually quite fun. It was quite a, it was actually more of a challenge compared to the normal one, because if you put the bonus objective on, I definitely couldn't survive the bonus objective if I was to do that in hard mode. However, if you have the right kind of balance, like, because they didn't actually give you too many, like, coming to you at once, like with the Mursaat stuff, it was actually quite easily manageable, and it wasn't hard to deal with. So as you can see here, I'm fighting against Dagnar, so I'm going to reclaim the keep. I actually thought this would be really hard, because I thought Dagnar had an elite ability, but it turns out he really doesn't. I did this actually before my playthrough got to this area, so I was a bit confused with what to do. So I was actually attacking Dagnar here, thinking, oh, he's going to do some massive blast that's going to completely destroy me. But then I also saw the two groups behind him, and I thought they actually might be a bigger problem than himself. But in the end, they actually weren't that hard of a problem at all. I only died once to that group, and that was it. It wasn't hard at all. So we came to the defense of Thunderhead Keep, which actually was more interesting, because I think the first few times I actually did this the first time, and I was expecting to fail on this last bit about 6 or 7 times and get really annoyed with the amount of time I've wasted, because of the amount of, obviously, like this perfected, probably Ken is his name, or like, you know, he's a perfected bow. He's just attacking me over and over. Like, he just destroyed me instantly with spectral agony, and I thought that so many things would get me from them, because I was taking so long to kill them. But luckily, they were a whole lot more manageable. Like, I genuinely thought they'd be unmanageable at all, but they were so easy to actually deal with, and it was probably one of the easiest missions that I've done in the Shiverpeaks out of every mission I have done. But I finally get to the final wave, where it's literally just a load of white mantle, and I thought there would be like proper Mursaat with them. So it actually made it really easy, because it was just loads of white mantle. But I think the reason why the later missions were easier than the earlier missions, because in the earlier missions the henchmen are so underbuilt for what you have to deal with. So they're normally a lower level than what everything is in a level. And once everything's level 20 normally, everything becomes a whole lot easier. And yeah, I actually genuinely think that might be the reason why Thunderhead Keep was in fact so easy for me to do throughout the whole of this challenge, when I thought it would be the hardest thing to do. I just thought I'd put this part into the video, as obviously everyone loves this part. The fact that Vizier Kilbron just rises loads of wraiths from the dead, from the Confessor Dorian's body. I think what they should do with this, though, is make it better, like make more spectral beings come out of the dead body of the Confessor, because then you could just, it would look way better, because we know how weak it is when you're actually in the previous missions. But I think these ones have all been set to one-shot stuff, so things die pretty fast. But overall, I am so glad that I completed this mission, because I thought that would probably be the most horrible thing. However, we then go and kill the inner council members of the White Mantle, and finally get to the Ring of Fire. I actually can't believe that I am this far. Like, I didn't think I would get this far through, because I thought the Mursaat would be so bad at Thunderhead Keep that I wouldn't be able to complete this Armourless. And the fact that it's also with henchmen, if it was with heroes, this would probably be a walk in the park, but the fact that it's with henchmen actually makes it so much more harder for me, because of the amount of stress that they put you through with the abilities that aren't really that good compared to what you could do with a build. And as we finish those members of the council, we go straight into the Ring of Fire, because there's nothing better than dying straight away. This is actually the point where I actually become pretty much obsolete, and I'm using only henchmen to do everything, because these Mursaat destroy me like nothing. Like, I can walk away from spectral agony and take no damage whatsoever, because sometimes I think I'd have protective blessing on, and therefore I'd take less damage, which was always good for me because that means I would take less damage overall, and I could like tank a little bit longer. But what I really devised was I had to go suicide, go straight in, be like as aggressive as possible. Well, obviously thinking about who I should attack, but go as aggressive as possible to the Mursaat. Let them focus everything on me, and then the henchmen could do most of the work other than that. I'm not sure if because I infused them, the henchmen are infused, but I seem to find spectral agony on me more than anyone else. I'm not sure why the henchmen didn't die as fast. It might be because of spectral agony not working on them. But yeah, I died a lot because, yeah, spectral agony was actually agony. Like, it was the most agonizing thing I have done throughout this game. I was also starting to regret the challenge at this point because it was pretty much just death after death after death, and it became quite painful. Like, if you got near those ether towers at all, it would drain your mana and your henchman's mana, and therefore you would have the possibility of dying, and that's why I'm trying to pull everything back so that I could be like, you get over here, and then the ether seal will not completely one-shot me. I got quite lucky here as well, as the Mursaat came so close to me that I could kind of move back a bit, and then it came even closer, and I was like, thank you so much. The one reason I used Devonna as a henchman is because of her hammer skills. She interrupts, and using her interrupts were probably one of the most useful things to do. You have to kind of think of what henchman that you really should use whilst doing the Armourless run, and Devonna was kind of filled the category for me where she could interrupt anything from, you know, she does do an interrupt, and she can't time. I don't think she times her interrupt on the ones that I want, but the fact that she interrupts nonetheless is one of the most useful things to me, as I'm literally using all the henchmen to kill things, as they are the only things that actually have damage in this part, and I'm just dead the whole time, witnessing the events that are happening where I'm just dead on the floor the whole time. I decided to actually put them away because this was probably one of the most epic fights that I had, because this is like a hard choke point. You're normally meant to be infused at this point, so it's easier to deal with, but it's such a hard choke point for me because I literally can't do anything with that. I'm actually obsolete. But the lucky thing is that they didn't actually use their res signets earlier, because they could have actually res signeted me and made it a whole lot easier for me to, you know, it would have made it harder for me to actually keep them alive. And Devonna came there, so I thought I have to go in now. I literally have to go in because I wanted a bit of adrenaline, and luckily, because they're quite low adrenaline moves I used, they're quite easy to destroy. Ether seals, like I said, were probably one of my biggest problems throughout the whole of this mission, is because you're just there, and, well, as you can see, I'm just getting rezzed, one shot, rezzed, one shot, and it's just not very good. Most of the Mursaat things are based on magics, and because they're based on magics, they completely destroy me. But I found a hammer, a Mursaat hammer, and I thought, the Guild Wars gods have blessed me this moment to give me a better hammer, which actually gave me energy on hit, which became worse later, but was also quite good at the same time, because I could use that hammer to get energy back if I needed to, and it made it one of the greatest things for me to get. After destroying the ether seal on the gate, I skimmed as hard as I could to get up to here, and destroying all the enemies on the bridge. I thought, yeah, we'll go for this monk boss, because it should be easy to kill when you've got a whole group of people just killing this monk. So that actually sounds really bad, just saying I'm killing a monk. But if that was taken out of context, it would sound awful. But yeah, I had to do whatever I could to get this key, or the lock for the gate, to drop down and complete the mission. So I quickly click on the lock and drop down the gate, and we'll be here at the gate. And as you can see, I could kill this warrior at the end, and this is the Ring of Fire mission complete. I didn't think I would get through the Ring of Fire mission that easily, but I died so many times. It was probably one of the most horrible experiences I've ever had whilst playing Guild Wars. However, the challenge wasn't exactly meant to be easy. It was meant to be more entertaining for both your viewing pleasure, and hopefully you're enjoying this, and also for my pleasure, because I would like to see if I actually could have completed Guild Wars Armourless, and it turns out that I probably can. It's getting really close to the end now, and it's feeling like less of a struggle. In Abaddon's Mouth, I thought that I would skip through all the deaths, because all it was pretty much to the end of this mission was just a load of deaths. But get to the end where the real juicy bit begins. This bit was actually quite horrible to deal with, because when you're doing it armorless, it's so much more harder to try and single out a certain ether seal without the ether seal completely just destroying me or one-shotting me. So I actually did this through this was the second time through, as everyone who has played this game probably knows that the bits where you see the lava around on the floor, that was the hardest thing for me to deal with. And oh look, I died completely from behind from a Mursaat elementalist. Who would have thought? An elementalist killing me within one shot? Yeah, but the elementalists obviously were one of the hardest things to deal with here, and it was one of the most horrible things for me to actually do, because look at this, just dying over and over again. But I had to realise that if I wanted to complete this game armorless, I needed to sacrifice myself for the good of my henchmen, which to some people might sound a bit weird, that I'm having to use my henchmen to actually do everything at the end, but it was actually one of the most logical steps to take, because I could kill them with relative ease, actually, and it actually wasn't... Yeah, well, I couldn't kill them, but the henchmen could actually kill the enemies with relative ease, and I just had to make sure that I didn't get overwhelmed by too many Mursaat guardians at the same time. I had to make sure that they were coming back, and I was dealing more damage to them. It was probably about 10 minutes between... Not 10 minutes, probably 5 minutes between killing that seal and this seal that I was doing here, which was actually a relatively long time for what I was doing, as I had to completely deal with all these lost souls. It was just so much harder than expected, as the previous mission seemed like nothing, and then this mission seemed so much harder, and I was obviously not looking forward to the Titans in the finale. But the more ether seals that I killed, you'd obviously expect that the easier it was, as there was less elementalists to deal with. I accidentally walked into fire there, and let's be honest, long story short, it burnt me and crippled me and made it a lot harder for me. I don't know, I kept walking back there, which was probably just, I need to complete this mission kind of thing. But it was a whole lot easier for me to complete it once all the ether seals were destroyed. I was just a lot happier once I could just remove all the ads. I wanted to make sure that the blood, I wasn't getting spectral agonied. I mean, the one good thing about the ether seals is they don't spectral agony you, and therefore I could use my henchmen to actually kill the other things, and therefore it was a whole lot easier than expected. But if the lost souls were level 20, I might have wiped on this mission probably a couple of times. But I think I did wipe a couple of times at the beginning, where the flame imps, were, they were kind of like choke pointing me off, and yeah, I wiped a couple of times. However, this time I completed it, and I was just so much happier with the fact that I actually had got closer to the end now. I was literally a couple of seconds off of the end, and then I forgot that the Titan was there, and I was like, oh no, there's a Titan here, I hope I don't die. But luckily, this Titan was different from the ones that you'd face in Hell's Precipice, and therefore was a whole lot easier, because you just killed it, and it died. I genuinely think it would have been easier if it did split into two, because then it kind of would get you into what was happening here. And I'm going to tell you, this was probably the bane of my playthrough, as all I was doing was going in, hoping that I didn't die to the Spark of the Titans, and hoping that I did die to the Spark of the Titans, and that nothing else was killed from the Spark of the Titans, because they have Rodgort's Invocation. This was where I could just completely wiped with the group, and I was like, do you know what? I might have to completely rethink my tactics. And therefore, I went to Amnu Oasis, because I needed to complete one mission to make this a whole lot easier for myself. It's the one where the Rangers test, where you kill the Mesmer boss in order to get the Rangers test complete, so that you can become Ranger as your secondary profession. This was probably actually more more mind-numbingly annoying than the rest of the Crystal Desert stuff and the everything else about the Mursaat, because the Mesmers just kept wiping me out as well. It was like everything that I didn't want to happen was just happening, and I was like, oh, just please just let me through this. And in the end, I finally got the Rangers test done, killed that boss, and was able to become a Ranger. At this point, I was happy to do that because it would allow me to become a ranger and get the spell Winter. Winter was probably one of the most useful spells that I ever could have asked for when playing this game. I had put all elemental damage to cold damage, and therefore when I used people like Sin, I could actually use her to do elemental damage to the to the Titans with relative ease. I'm not actually sure if Winter itself turns their elemental damage into cold damage as well, but I was just unsure. In the end, I was just happier that I didn't die. I got past that next part. This is the point where I was probably the most scared that I was going to die, where I had to fight a boss at the same time as Spark of the Titans. As soon as the Spark of the Titan was around in any situation, I always thought that I was going to wipe, because you never know what would happen. If you didn't kill the Spark of the Titan, something else could attack you from behind and you would be completely destroyed. However, anytime I did play through this mission, I thought I was going to die. This was actually my second time through this mission, as I am crazy. Pretty much because the first time I did it through, I recorded half the mission and my recording software completely just wrecked itself. Like, for some reason OBS turned itself off automatically, even though I had plenty of space, so I don't know why it turned itself off. So I was using the Deldrim Mace throughout this mission. It was actually no different from using the Mursaat Mace itself, so it only just gave me 30 extra health. I thought near the end of the mission though I would change the Deldrim Mace to the Mursaat Mace, as it would make it more replicable through at the Lich stage of the mission. But as you can see here, there's so many near-death points that I was just getting so scared. I was like, please no, don't make me go back to the beginning of the mission. I've recorded this through once already. Please just let me get through this and complete it for the second time. So I've actually technically completed this mission twice, Armourless, which was, oh my god, so strange. This actually misses out a whole important part that I did, but I'll explain it through because it's better than actually watching it, because it would have been like about 10 minutes long, and this video is already quite long as it is. But when you are before you kill these portal wraiths, I had to wait at the top, just killing every single hand or fist of the Titan. That I can't remember which one it is, but I think it's a hand and fist of the Titans that are coming out, and then the bosses, and then I would just take the portal wraiths out like one by one, which is quite easy. Like, as you can see with the first one, it pretty much was demonstrated for each of them. And then I decided to try and take out Rurik. The Spark of the Titans were actually not too hard to kill here, and you can see I killed those actually with relative ease, but then I died to Rurik, and then I'm actually killing him now. And Rurik was quite a walk in the park to kill, unfortunately. It was so easy to kill when you had no armour, because once everything else had left, he was literally just by himself and an easy person to kill. So as you can see, I've got the Mursaat hammer back on now, as I thought, let's try and replicate it more like the rest of it, because the Lich was the main thing to kill, and therefore probably the thing that I should have used the Mursaat hammer for the most. And plus I had a 60% death penalty anyway, so either way, even if I had a Deldrim or Mace or I didn't, I was pretty much focusing on my henchmen doing everything, because that was my kind of philosophy. It was, I will die most of the time anyway, therefore using whatever weapon I'm using won't make a difference. It really didn't make a difference the second time through at all. Even the 30 health did nothing, because I was shredded by elemental damage, like literally like a click of the fingers, and it just didn't help. But killing the Lich, on the other hand, was surprisingly easy, because I just had to I'm actually surprised at how easy it is to kill the Lich. I mean, I like the way that you kill the Lich with the different things that you just keep hitting him over and over again, and then you absorb more and more into the gate. One of my favourite boss fights in the whole of the game, funnily enough. However, it also came with the a hand and a fist of the Titans, which actually weren't too hard to deal with. I think the hardest thing to deal with was when the vortex would teleport people out, and you'd be like, please don't kill my healer, please don't kill my healer. But the Lich overall was quite a simple and easy boss fight to do. So as you can see, the end of this was actually relatively easy. I died on the Bloodstone, therefore I've died completely, my soul has been absorbed. Therefore the end of the playthrough should technically count there. However, it isn't, because this is Guild Wars, and it wouldn't allow you to just die as easy as that, because let's be honest, it would probably not be a very nice thing to do, to delete your character for dying on a bloodstone. But that would be a very good, like, oh, good in inverted, you know, commas way of making someone have to reset the game all over again because they've, you know, and making it more lore friendly. But you have to get rid of lore friendly stuff, because imagine dying on it by mistake and just being like, no, my character's gone now. That would be one of the worst things that would ever happen to anyone throughout the game. However, the time of the Lich is nearly there. Let's finally kill him. Come on, Lich. Die. You shall die, Lich. Come on. Getting so close to the end. At this point, I was just like, just die. Can you just die now? Please, just die. And I was just hoping that it didn't teleport. And I've actually got some pretty good damage there at the end. And boom. We had completed the mission. And finally, the Armourless challenge had been completed. And I hope you have enjoyed this series, as I have really enjoyed actually creating it, making it, and spending the time to actually go through this challenge and help you out. I actually died over 332 times in the end, yeah, that was quite a lot of times that I died. I actually thought it might not have been possible, but we have actually found out that Guild Wars Prophecies is able to be completed armourless. However, I will also close with the remarks. The two things that were most painful in the whole of this were when I had elementalists destroying me in one hit, or big groups of warriors, and that will be the biggest problem that you'll have if you play through Armourless. And if you like this video, please like the video, comment down below what you enjoyed about it, and subscribe. Dislike it if you didn't like it and I was really boring to you or anything. But if there's anything that I can change in this video, or anything that you would recommend for me when I'm doing another challenge, then please comment that down below, as it would really help the channel. And I hope that the editing has been sufficient for you. This is my first time actually editing a video properly and fully through, so please give constructive feedback. That would be really nice for me. And yeah, like if you like it, dislike if you dislike it, and subscribe if you want more challenge videos. And please recommend me some more challenges. I'll see you next time. Bye.